Hi, friends. Hi, friends. Hi, friends. This is Coach Rose AJ, Carnivore Girl for Life, coming to you once again with an incredible journey, carnivore journey. Today we have Drina from Perth, Australia, and she's going to share her story, her highs, lows, where she's going with the carnivore lifestyle, and how it has impacted her overall health and wellness and all that good stuff. So I'm going to stop talking now. And Drina, you go ahead and take it away, Mamacita.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Drina in Perth, Western Australia, and I wanted to share with everyone my story and how Coach AJ has been amazing, Coach Rose AJ. And it's been actually a real blessing, and knowing that there is this amazing community worldwide that can come together now, thanks to social media and internet. I think is one of the coolest things. And yeah, so my journey began back in September in 2021 with going carnivore. I had already sort of had it in my periphery for probably about 6 months before I decided to jump in. And like a lot of people do, first think about, when they see carnivore, they kind of freak out. And I was like, who are all these crazy people who don't eat vegetables or fruits or seeds or nuts or grains? What is going on here? This is so weird. But, prior to that, I had been on a keto diet since 2019, on and off between standard diet and keto diet. And definitely keto had helped me. But I found more long-lasting benefits going carnivore. And I had heard of the three people that were in my vision first when it came. Well, the three people that made me aware of carnivore were Kelly Hogan, Dr. Ken Berry, and Bella of Steak and Butter Gal. And so what I did was, I believe it was September 2021 that I first joined Bella's Steak and Butter Gang, and she had started it at the start of that year with just a few friends, and it quickly developed into a massive community. I think by the time I joined, there were like 4,500 people, or just under that amount. And then I think when I joined, the last time I joined, I think it was in October or November last year, I came back again into the community, into the fold. And by that point, there was close to 45,000. So massive community that she's built. So well done to Bella, because that's huge. Anyway, I found it very helpful there with coaches Adek and Cherish. They are still great friends of mine that I stay in touch with on WhatsApp. And also Coach Emily was great, and Coach Raymond Nazon. I got into his priming, feasting and fasting protocol of November 21. And within 5 weeks, the very little amount of perimenopausal hot flash symptoms that I had started to experience, or hot flush as we say in Australia, they disappeared. And for me, it was very minimal. So I was very lucky that even for a metabolically not so great obese woman, I wasn't actually experiencing too many issues. I am 47 and a half at this time of recording in January, in the start of 24, and I still have regular periods. So that's been pretty good. But I found going carnivore actually did help with inflammation. It started to really improve my mental health and my gut health. And obviously, a lot of people look at something like carnivore or keto or paleo or any of these different diets. They can often be viewed as like a real diet, like I want to lose weight. In actual fact, most of us just want to drop fat. because we want muscle. We don't want excess fat, but we definitely want to keep muscles, especially as we're aging. That's very important for our health. And for me, even as a big woman now, obesity isn't my main why. My main why has always been my gut health and my mental health. That's been my overriding number one why. Obesity sort of is next down in line because, yes, when we're obese, we're carrying too much inflammation, we're carrying too much weight, which weakens our joints, makes it harder to ambulate, to move around, to bend, squat, sit, whatever you need to do. It actually just makes life a bit more uncomfortable and painful. So I have struggled with carb and sugar addiction. And this is something I also feel that you're not really fully aware of until you do something as massively restrictive as carnivore. And I say restrictive because, yes, you're really restricting what you're allowing yourself to eat. And I like to say allowing because I'm choosing what I can eat and I allow myself to eat the best food. And to me, the best food is ruminant animals. So your beef, your lamb, your goats, anything with a stomach, it churns its own little grass and greenery diet that it eats. And if it's eating its proper diet, then when I'm eating it, I'm eating my proper diet and I'm getting all the nutrients and value and follow through from there. So I really look at it as quite a eating carnivore as very sort of being in touch with myself, being in touch with nature, connecting and living in a way that's really healthy and holistic. Have I been perfect with it? Absolutely not. I have found tools and tricks along the way to help me to stay true to carnivore. And actually with my partner, I have just come to realize sometimes, not always, I'm getting away from that carb and sugar addiction, but sometimes I'm seeing something or he's got something and I'm thinking, oh, I'd like a bite of that. And I'll say to him, oh, I'd like a bite of that, you know. And I've actually taught him now to support me, actually just turn around and say, why? What's your reason why you don't eat this food? And then I go, right, because just like there are people who are addicted to drugs or alcohol, it's that same type of warning system in the brain or signaling in the brain when you see something that is a sugar or a carbohydrate that you know it's not great for your health, especially not at this time, for whatever reason that is for you. We've all got our own health journeys. For me, sugar and carbohydrates are just an endless cycle of inflammation and pain in my body that I don't need any longer. I don't need any more adverse health effects. So, and this is now working really well. But what I was saying to Coach Rose here is that I'm finding now that the further I'm getting into staying quite clean with my carnivore journey, it's actually making it easier now to just say no to my brain. If I'm out and about by myself and I see something and I think, oh yeah, I could enjoy snacking on that or enjoying that, I straight away say to myself no, and I look in a different direction. I just completely distract from what it is that's got my attention. However, if I'm with my partner, I'll get him to, well, he will look at me and say, no, you don't want to buy that. You don't want to order that. Remember why. What's your reason why? And that straight away brings me back to, yeah, absolutely, I don't. But it's not like I'm craving. I'm not sitting here craving anything anymore. You know, I think for anyone who's looking at starting to change their diet and eat this way, I think transitioning is really important if you're not coming from something like a keto or paleo background where you've already sort of started to reduce what you're eating in like when we're looking at like, you know, vegetables and fruits and things. But I think a lot of people who are eating those sorts of diets, they would find it easier rather than just going straight from a standard diet and all the way in. Although I know a lot of people will just, you know, dive straight in, but I think it's easier on your gut and the transition, because some people can start to experience either constipation or diarrhea and a bit of, you know, upheaval with the gut as you're changing your microbiome, then yeah, there's going to be a bit of upheaval and transition. And so for me, some of the improvements have been less inflammation right throughout my body. Joint pain is gone. My gut is improving. I've had a lot of pain in the gut, and my gut issues have been things like IBS from a young age, diverticulitis. I've had a lot of trauma from a young age as well. So I think that's been part of the reason why my gut's been so unsettled. And so, you know, I really focus on the positives that I'm actually getting from eating this way, because without having those positives and those little health benefits that you see, you know, my skin's looking better, and going to the toilet is now easier, or, you know, less inflammation in my body. As an added bonus, I actually weighed myself today, and in 2.5 weeks, I have lost 5 kilos, which is 11 pounds for the Americans out there. And again, it's not like that's my main focus. My main focus is actually really achieving really great mental and gut health. And I know that when I'm eating right and I'm eating enough, for me, then I don't crave eating a bit of ice cream or eating a bit of cake, or, you know, turning to something that's like a bowl of rice or pasta or pizza or anything like that. It just, that sort of craving and carbohydrate addiction, it just goes really low, and it's just easy to sweep away, you know, like some dirt at your front door. You just sort of just blow it away. So it is getting easier, and I'm feeling better. My mental health is improving. That's been really fantastic. And for me, it's quite a night and day difference. So when I'm eating poorly or eating sugar or carbohydrates, I can literally just wake up and just feel paranoid and really anxious and get like imposter syndrome and just feel absolutely hideous. So for me, it's really important to just not allow that stuff to come onto my plate and into my stomach, because I just don't need to deal with all that. I don't need to digest all that negative rubbish that comes. So it's like, no, I don't need to digest the food and then also what it does to my head and my gut. I'm like, no, I haven't got time or space or energy for that in my life anymore. And for me, what it looks like when I'm eating carnivore, my version of it, what's got me feeling the most healthy is eating beef. I predominantly eat beef. That's usually mince meat and T-bone steaks, Scotch fillet. So what do the Americans call it? Ground beef, ribeyes, you know, all these sorts of cuts of the meat. And I also like just getting chuck bones and putting them in the Instant Pot, or just a big chunk of chuck steak and putting that in the Instant Pot. Oxtail is another favorite. I like eating occasionally some lamb's brains, chicken feet. Yeah, sometimes a little bit of kidney. Beef liver I'm not fond of. I like chicken livers, but beef liver is just, it's too much of a sharp, minerally, irony type of taste for me. And it just, it's not pleasant. Not pleasant. I know it's healthy, but I think sometimes people get too excited about needing to eat too many of these things. And I think there's a lot of benefit and value and nutrition from those things. So if you can stomach it and have a bit of those things occasionally, that's great. But if you can't, then, you know, you only need to look at someone like Kelly Hogan, who has had 3 children, 3 pregnancies, not eaten those things, and is 13 plus years into carnivore herself and is absolute pillar of health, you know. So it's not, I don't think it's as vital as some people have made it out to be, but definitely if you enjoy it, you can eat it. For me, I also will eat some seafood and fish and some chicken occasionally. However, I don't feel satiated if I'm eating those things alone. Like I would never eat like a whole meal just of like seafood, fish or chicken. I would have to have half of that meal be red meat, because otherwise I'll just be hungry. So it's almost like those things are like things that I pick on or become like my dessert. And eggs, I do eggs and bacon as well. And I do some processed meats, but not heavily processed. I tend to shop at a really good butcher. Anthony Chafee and his partner El Marie, they shop there as well. Tora and Wadini, shouting them out because they're fantastic over in Kareen. Great butcher, and then they've got a great delicatessen, and they do a lot of nitrate-free, sugar-free, chemical-free, gluten-free meats and hams and prosciutto and things like that. So that's really yummy. And I do, other than the tallow, I do butter and ghee. So I've reduced everything right down. I've cut out the dairy. I'm no longer having black coffee, black tea, or milk. And the reason I did that, yes, exactly. The reason I did that was because the sugar in the milk, the carbs and sugars in the milk was making me just stay addicted to the milk, and then making it easier for me then to sneak other things into my diet, or just not sneak, just eat other stuff that just is not beneficial, other carbohydrates and things. Tastes great, but I just can't do it. I'm contemplating bringing coffee back in at some stage, and I only do very weak coffee. It would be black coffee, which I wouldn't have an issue with, or even putting some black coffee, really nice pre-made black coffee, into my egg pudding. So it's like a coffee egg dessert. Really nice. Yeah, Bella Steak and Butter Girl, she put out some videos a few years ago about her mum's egg pudding. So traditional Chinese recipe that she learnt from her mum. And of course you can make it with water, with milk, with cream, with yogurt. You can make it with some coffee or some stock or some broth. So there's so many ways that you can make it, and it can be quite a carnivore friendly option, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's me kind of at this point, just keeping it really simple. And I've been having a lot of there's this beautiful grass-fed and finished beef. Was it the beef beef marrow bones that have been made into a broth? It's literally just that, with water and salt, and it's from Australian and New Zealand beef, and it's like just a really thick organic paste that you can just put with your hot water, and straight away you've got an instant broth. So I've been drinking that and putting that in my soups when I make like a meatball soup or a meatball and egg drop soup. So that's been really good. Yeah. And I feel so much healthier, like I'm feeling healthier, I'm feeling stronger, I've got more energy at the moment. I can move, I can do things a lot easier than what I was dealing with. I've been living with a lot of plantar fasciitis, pain in my feet, as well as the diverticulitis. They've been my two main health concerns, and pain in the joints. I have a history of being a young ballet dancer from 7 to 14. So I did develop osteoarthritis in my first metatarsals in my big toes by the time I was 19. But, there's no pain. There's no pain when I'm eating carnivore. So it's really good. Yeah.
Oh, let me ask you, Drina, what about exercise? I know we've discussed exercise, you getting out in nature and all that good stuff. So talk to us about that, how your exercise or movement or being out in nature has become a part of your daily practice in some capacity.
Yes, it does. So I've been getting out into my garden a lot more, and I love getting out first thing in the morning, and I spend like 30 to 40 minutes just watering the garden and connecting with all my plants. I've been doing that. I've been doing, when I've been able to get out to them, I have a friend who runs a walking group, and they're my spiritual family. So Sunday walking group, sometimes I've been getting out to that. I've been going to the beach with just by myself or with a friend. I went for 3 hours earlier this week on Monday morning for 3 hours. It's fantastic. And being carnivore has the added bonus that you don't burn as much. I have discovered my limit, though. I can go about 40 minutes in the really hot Perth hot sun. Unfortunately, I got a little bit burnt on Monday, but that's because I was out in direct sunlight for 3 hours. But then by Tuesday, I was fine. But it didn't hurt nearly as much as it would have done years gone by when I wasn't eating a more metabolically healthy diet for me. So, yeah. And I do love just connecting in with nature and putting my feet on the grass and earthing. That's a really important thing for me. So absorbing all the negative ions from the earth by grounding or earthing. A lot of American people would know about Clint Ober now, because he's put out his book Earthing, and also the same title of I think it's about an hour-long movie you can watch on YouTube, Earthing. So that's really good, and has a lot of healing benefits. So really worth looking into. And yeah, I like to, when I'm really still, I like to also meditate and just focus on my breath work. I also have had a chance to connect with Wim Hof's brother. So Wim Hof has a few different brothers and I think some sisters. And for those that know, he's the man who is known as the Iceman, and looked at developing, ice baths and cold showers and exercising in cold weather to try and build up his immune system, and then has taught other people how to do this. And often it's really just about connecting with the breath. The breath work is the big part of how he sort of connects in with himself and with nature as well. So I'm going to get back to, that's going to be one of my next things to introduce into my lifestyle again, is his breath work and his 10-week fundamentals course. I got up to week 4 and completed half of that, but then I sort of let it slide, so I've got to pick it up again. But his brother Marcel Hoff has been in Perth, and he tends to go between Perth and New Zealand in our summer times, and he teaches people breathing techniques and things. And I did my first 2 or 3 ice baths actually with Marcel Hoff, and it was awesome. And I remember leading a chant when I was doing my second 3-minute ice bath. I was singing a Xavier Rudd song, and it was really cool just getting everyone in the ice bath to sing along. And then when I stepped out, Marcel took my hands and I looked into his eyes and I thought, wow, it's amazing how we're all connected, I found out about him through a friend, and she's like, oh, there's this great guy, Marcel, who's doing ice baths and teaching all the breathing and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I've been doing Wim Hof breathing, and I didn't make the connection straight away that this Marcel Hoff is Wim Hof's brother. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's his brother. I was like, oh. So I got to meet him again a few weeks ago down at Mullaloo Beach here. We went and did just really beautiful breath work down on the beach. And I love it because it gets you in touch with your body and your emotions. And he's so good at just guiding you through it. All the different change of pace with the breathing, and then the breath holds, where you just like hold the breath for a while and then you release it. And then you breathe in again, or you breathe in a bit more before you properly release. It's just really cool, and activates all the energy centers. And then, sometimes we have a little bit of a cry and, release certain emotions that have been stuck in the body. So that's really cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So, Drina, before we close out, what I want to ask you is if you really had a magic wand pertaining to maybe a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet, what would your wish be for the world pertaining to that? Because, it's not necessarily mainstream, right? It's not mainstream. It's poo-pooed in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
But if you could bestow a wish or a magic wand and help the world change with carnivore or low carb diets or whatever you want to call it, what would it be?
I think it would be probably more education and the truth. There's a lot of doctors like Dr. Berry and Chafee and some other doctors whose names I can't exactly remember right now, who will often in their videos link studies that actually show the benefit of having high cholesterol or having things that we've been told that are not healthy for us that actually are healthy. Like there's no evidence at the moment really that meat causes cancer. So I think there's a lot of misinformation. And I think if there was more education brought to people globally, I think there'd be a big shift. I think if there was a lot of, and these people are certainly instrumental and part of that process of bringing the truth out there. And the more people that they can reach, the more of us that can watch their videos and understand that actually we've been lied to a lot. I mean, even Dr. Canberra put out a book that says that is called, The Lies My Doctor Has Told Me, and he is a doctor. So I think it's kind of like the unveiling and this sort of taboo around killing, humans killing meat and eating meat is bad or sinful. I mean, come on, are we angry at a lion or a shark when they eat another animal? It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, And for all the spiritual people out there, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, vegans and all the people who are in the spiritual side of life. If you're being told by your gurus in these spiritual communities that, you're not going to achieve a lot enlightenment and you can't get in touch with a higher self or with God if you're eating meat, that's a load of rubbish. That's a load of BS. Don't ever let anyone make you think that you're lesser than them just because they are eating vegetables and you're eating meat. There's no truth to that. Okay. So
All right,
you follow
sister.
you follow your you follow your own heart and your own path. And actually, if anything, I think when you're eating really well, it opens up your intuition and your psychic abilities even more. And that to me has actually become evident because this week I've already had two extremely intuitively focused energies on two people. One of them was actually Anthony Chafee. One day I found myself going, why do I keep thinking of Anthony Chafee, Anthony Chafee, Anthony Chafee? And then the next day I saw, oh, it was his birthday. That's why I was so intense. And I didn't know it was his birthday, but that was just my intuition opening up. And the other one was a friend. And I kept thinking, but does my friend really want to have a baby? She always ends up with these men who have already got children and having babies. And does she really want to be a mum? I wonder if she really wants to be a mum or even have her own baby one day. Well, I got on Facebook yesterday and there it was. She's pregnant and she's going to have her first baby, her first own biological child. And I was like, well, hello, that was my intuition and that was my spirituality showing me. And things like that happen to me all the time. So, you know, you got to shake up and wake up the people that are around you. And we are all our own evidential reality. Like, I'm eating meat. My health issues are going away. My mental health is improving. My gut health is improving. I'm now starting to function the way that other people who aren't suffering are functioning. And what can be better than that?
I
That's all
love
I've got
it.
to say about it. Honestly, is there anything else I can say? I don't think so. You've just got to be your own truth and your own reality.
Rock on. Now, this is what I want to say. When I was eating the standard American diet, I was on that vicious cycle for years. I mean, for most of my life, right? Diet after diet, beach body 4 times over, all the commercial brands, Dexatrim, XX, just the whole nine, just drama, 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 drama. And I have to tell you, Drina, that if someone would have told me that it was the food, especially the processed food that I was eating, that was making me stay on this merry-go-round and be obsessed and use so much energy that I couldn't focus on my day-to-day quality of life and raising my child and, just the normal things. If they
Mm.
would have told me that there might be an addiction going on here, there's something that's messing with your brain, your wiring and whatnot, and it's actually the food, right? I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know if I would have been clear enough to hear it,
Yeah.
right? I reached my rock bottom in 2018 and I heard God tell me I needed to change, right?
Yeah.
So I had to move. But even when I made the decision and heard the voice speak so clearly, it still took me 6 months, to move from, hearing it, understanding it, and preparing to take flight to save my own life. Six
Yeah.
months. And then in the 4 or 5 years that followed, it was very turbulent, very rocky the first 2 or 3 years, right? But I kept holding on to the glimmer, the glimpse of hope that this is the right way. And now
Yeah.
I've kind of like leveled out. Do you see that for yourself that you've finally caught on to what is working for you and that no matter what, you'll keep going on the path that you're on? Even if there's some slips and slides, you'll always come back to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, and you just made me realize, like, I didn't share. So, when I did that feasting and fasting protocol with Raymond Nazon, like within under 3 months, I lost 15 to 16 kilos, so more than 32 pounds. And, and I've put that weight back on since. But the thing is, there's nothing that can replace how good that feels. And so when I have struggled in that time, sort of from early 20s, February 22, I really sort of fell off the wagon again with it. And I sort of on and off eating between like keto, standard diet, and carnivore. But yes, like with your help and through that terrible flare up I had of the diverticulitis in November last year, November 23, it just wiped me out. It was so horrible. But it's like I had to actually look back at what did help. And I wanted to say this, it's something I didn't touch on before. The fasting actually didn't help me. So I found when I was, the actual fasting itself was fine. I found great clarity, enjoyed those times. But what I mean by that for me is when I would start to do my refeeds, I would then have explosive diarrhea and I'd be really bloated and a lot of pain. And coach said at that time to me, okay, it's probably a good idea that you stop with the fasting. So, I think the thing is you've always got to come back to yourself, because even in our space of eating these sort of type of ketogenic diets, of which carnivore is a type of ketogenic diet, when we're eating this way, we're all going to eat differently. But like you said, when you catch on to what's actually giving you better health, when you're doing your own experiments with your body by removing something for a week and seeing what changes there are, and then bringing it back in and noticing if that really affects you in any adverse way, then you start to see for yourself what works and what doesn't. And you can't really have a doctor or a textbook or a study show you that. You need to actually feel it in yourself and need to see it in yourself. So yes, now now that I've come here, like, and I actually said this from years ago, I said carnivore is always going to be the way for me, and it will be, because it's where I'm feeling my best. My brain is at its sharpest. I feel good. The only thing I will bring it back in, I haven't recently, because I just wanted to completely not have anything but the meat and the bone broth to help my gut heal more recently. But the only thing I found that helps me, actually makes my brain a bit sharper, is doing a really good clean fish oil product. So that supplement I will bring back in, because it does help with my joints and my cognitive functioning, made me very, very, very sharp, very fast. So, yeah, definitely you've got to find out what works for you, and it's got to be sustainable and maintainable. You've got to be able to do that so that you know that you're feeling your best and that you can keep going. So remembering your whys, I think, is very important, because that's the thing that will help you stay focused and keep focused. Having those little tools and having a good support system. You only need a few people, either a coach, a few friends, a partner, a mum or a dad that's on your side. My mum's very supportive as well. So shout out to Marie Markovich. I love you, mama.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that. And what are you sipping, my friend? What are you sipping? I love it. Pretty
It
can
is.
though.
It is. It's really cute. It's called Dash Water, and it's just infused with wonky raspberries. So there's no stevia, there's no sugar, there's no sweeteners. And I don't think that they even squeeze the fruit juice. I think they just let the fruit sit in the water. So it slowly, it's like if you just slice a piece of lemon and you just sit it in your water, but you don't actually squeeze the. So it's great because these don't bring on any kind of cravings for me. And I love having cold, sparkly water, especially when it's like hot weather here. It's really good.
I keep
Yeah.
forgetting you're the total opposite of here in the Pacific Northwest. We had some ice and some snow, and it's just frigid. It's so cold, right? And then I
Exactly.
spoke with a client yesterday. She was like, "Oh, you have 30 degrees. We're 5 below." I was like, "Oh, I guess I better quit complaining."
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? From place to
Yeah.
place, the differences. Yeah. Got to
So
respect it and enjoy it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy mine. It's drivable.
Gratitude. Yeah, gratitude.
Yeah, okay, that leads me to one last thing. Gratitude. Do you have a daily gratitude practice?
I don't have anything specific daily that I'm working on, but whenever I think about it, like especially when I'm about to eat my food, I'm like, thank you. Been eating a lot of crayfish lately because my partner Matt does a lot of diving here, and he's been getting crayfish. He's been getting tuna, catching a lot of jewfish and different fish from the ocean and abalone. So I always say thank you when I can to the meat that I'm eating. Thank you, cow, for giving your life. Thank you, lamb. Thank you, chicken, whatever it is, because you know that animal has given its life so that we can also continue our life. Yeah. And also like just gratitude for anyone that's in my life that brings me their beautiful energy, and the friends and the family I have. you know there's a lot to be grateful for. So whenever it springs to mind, whenever I just remember to give thanks and gratitude to all the lessons, even the terrible people that I come across. I have gratitude for the lesson that I learn from any interaction I have with them too, because I think, well, you're not for me, but thank you for that lesson I learned from the interaction. And
Um,
that's it. Yeah.
so, Drina, I do want to say thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with me and my channel, Carnivore Girl for Life. It's just an honor and a blessing to have gotten to know you better in a different perspective than the last few conversations that we've had. So if somebody wanted to be in touch with you or to ask you a couple of questions, do you have a channel or social media that you can be reached at?
Yes, I currently do have a YouTube channel, but I'm not going to share that at the moment. I'd actually like you to interview me in another 3 months and see
Okay.
the changes, and maybe
Okay.
by then I'll be ready to share all that. But uh, I do have an Instagram account, so Mystic Starfire 369. You can hit me up there and follow me there, and I'll follow you back. We can have
Right.
conversation. That's fine. Yeah.
So there you've heard it. Give her a follow on Instagram, and I will include that in the show notes and
Mhm.
whatnot. And she will give you guys a follow back. And I'm going to close out. This is Coach Rose AJ, Carnivore Girl for Life, closing out on this beautiful interview. But Drina, hold one, please. All right. Take care, folks. Until next time. Thank you.